Being Fruitful and Faithful by Dr. Finto Francis. Dr. Finto Francis, a gynecologist by profession, is actively involved in the Jesus Youth pro-life ministry. He lives in Thrissur, India, with wife Dr. Asha and their 3 children. Based on his experience practicing as a gynecologist, Dr. Finto looks at the reasons and logic behind the Catholic Church's teachings on abortion and contraception.
I have been practicing as a gynecologist for many years. It is very difficult to come out of a government medical college with a specialization in gynecology, strictly adhering to the Catholic pro-life teachings. We were supposed to be a part of abortion, sterilization, and contraception during our learning curve. I did my MBBS in a government medical college. With strong pro-life values, I was in a dilemma. If I didn't comply with these practices in college, I may never get my degree with which I wanted to save thousands of lives. So I was confused, and I prayed one day in front of the Blessed Sacrament, requesting God's discernment. Suddenly, I heard a voice in my ears. I would like to see you without spot and blemish. This was a miraculous experience for me. Everything was so clear that God does not want me to do anything unholy, even with the intention of being holy in the future. I took a firm decision that regardless of whether I got my MBBS degree or not, I would never do or assist in any anti-life activity. The years ahead were not easy, where I was asked to do or assist in these things, and I had to struggle, hiding in the men's restroom, running out of college, scoldings from my HOD, etc. Eventually, they gave up on me and understood that come what may, Finto will not do any of these things, even at the cost of his degree. By the grace of God, I got the chance to do my post-graduation at a Catholic medical college. Eventually, God made the impossible possible. I got my post-graduation in OBGYN, and I started practicing as a pro-life gynecologist. Years passed in my career, and I realized that Lord is making use of me in wonderful ways to save the life of so many babies in the threat of abortion. When people realized that children are a blessing of the Lord and not a burden, many of them changed their mind and turned away from contraception and sterilization. I wanted to help couples who had undergone sterilization, but later regretted their decision and wanted to restore their fertility. Since tubal recanalization is a microsurgery, it was costly. That is how I started doing tubal recanalization surgery at the hospital where I am working in a cost-effective way. Somia and Anthony, names changed, came to my OPD and wanted to know about the recanalization surgery. They had 2 children, but the first child died in an accident. Both their deliveries were through the cesarean section. The first child was a girl. When they were admitted for their second delivery, they were offered sterilization along with a cesarean, but they didn't consent because they wanted more children. Their second child happened to be a baby boy. They were again advised about sterilization. The doctor told them that the lower part of uterus is relatively thin, so there is a chance of uterine rupture in a subsequent pregnancy. They were frightened to hear such things and gave consent for sterilization. Unfortunately, when their daughter was around 4 years, in a road traffic accident, she was seriously injured and died. They were very upset, but slowly accepted the fact that their daughter was no more with them. They came to know about recanalization surgery through which she could restore her fertility. That is how they came to me for consultation. I explained to them about tubal recanalization surgery which is a medical procedure in which through microsurgical techniques, we reattach the fallopian tube on both sides, which were cut during the sterilization procedure. We can expect around 60 to 70% success of a subsequent pregnancy after the procedure. However, the husband was worried about the chance of uterine rupture in a subsequent pregnancy. It is estimated that the incidence of uterine rupture in an elective cesarean is less than 0.05%. It is actually less than the chance of getting into a road accident in Kerala roads, which is estimated at 0.4% per year if one is traveling every day. The couple was convinced, and the wife underwent recanalization surgery, and they gave birth to 2 more children after that through elective cesarean. The most important complication couples have to face is post-sterilization regret. It is estimated that 14% to 40% of couples regret their decision about sterilization due to one or many of the below: the loss of one or all their children due to illness or accident, the change of marital status due to the death of the spouse, the changed financial status of the family, loneliness after their children goes to school or college, and spiritual reasons. Sterilization can also cause below medical issues: increased incidence of ectopic pregnancy. Sterilization increases the chance of a subsequent pregnancy to be in the fallopian tube. Incidence of ectopic pregnancy is estimated to be 0.7% to 3% over the subsequent 15 years after sterilization. Ectopic pregnancy is a life-threatening condition for the women. Increased incidence of hysterectomy. Those who underwent sterilization have 4.4 times increased risk for hysterectomy compared to others. Sadly, many of our couples have done sterilization after having 2 or 3 kids, as they are unaware of these facts, and that is not right as per the church teaching to do it. Catholic teaching on contraception and sterilization. The sexual act is meant to renew the marital covenant, repeating over and over again, "I give myself to you entirely, unreservedly, holding nothing back." Sterilization and contraception sever the procreative from the unitive aspect of sex, thereby rejecting one of the 3 characteristics of married love: fruitfulness. This means every time a couple comes together, either using contraception or having been sterilized, their bodies are speaking a kind of half-truth to each other, unable to give full expression to the love they have for each other. The modern world considers the church teachings on contraception are impractical and illogical. Seldom have they understood that church teachings on contraception are logically explained and statistically validated. It is frequently asserted that contraception, if made safe and available to all, is the most effective remedy against abortion. The Catholic Church is then accused of promoting abortion because she obstinately continues to teach the moral unlawfulness of contraception. When looked at carefully, this objection is clearly unfounded. It may be that many people using contraception with the view of excluding like subsequent temptation of abortion, but the negative values inherent in the contraceptive mentality, which is very different from responsible parenthood lived in respect for the full truth of the conjugal act, are such that they in fact strengthen this temptation when an unwanted life is conceived. Indeed, the pro-abortion culture is especially strong, precisely where the church's teachings on contraception is rejected. Certainly, from the moral point of view, contraception and abortion are specifically different evils. The former contradicts the full truth of the sexual act as a proper expression of conjugal love, while the latter destroys the life of a human being. The former is opposed to the virtue of chastity in marriage. The latter is opposed to the virtue of justice and directly violates the divine covenant, "You shall not kill." But despite their differences of nature and moral gravity, contraception and abortion are often closely connected as fruits of the same tree. It is true that in many cases, contraception and even abortion are practiced under the pressure of real-life difficulties, which nonetheless can never exonerate from striving to observe God's law fully. Still, in very many other instances, such practices are rooted in a hedonistic mentality, unwilling to accept responsibilities in matters of sexuality, and they imply a self-centered concept of freedom, which regards procreation as an obstacle to personal fulfillment. The life which could result from a sexual encounter thus becomes an enemy to be avoided at all costs, and abortion becomes the only possible decisive response to failed contraception. Every action which, whether in anticipation of the conjugal act, or in its accomplishment, or in the development of its natural consequences, proposes, whether as an end or as a means to render procreation impossible, is intrinsically evil. CCC 2370. Number of children. Parents want to give the best for their children. So some parents find it difficult to accept one more child, since they may have to deny certain material benefits and comforts to their children. St. John Paul II, addressing young families, says, "Even if you have to deny certain comforts for your children, never deny them the presence of brothers and sisters, because the presence of brothers and sisters will help them to grow in humanity and to realize the beauty of life in all its ages and all its variety." Advantages of having more children. 1. Incidence of fibroid uterus. With each pregnancy and delivery, the chance of fibroid uterus, which is the main cause of ill health and hysterectomy in females, comes down. For a lady who has not given birth to children, the chance that she will develop fibroid uterus by the age of 50 years is 50%. But for a lady who has given birth to 5 children, the chance becomes 1/5, means around 10%. 2. The incidence of breast cancer. The lifetime incidence of breast cancer is around 10%. By each pregnancy and delivery, the relative risk for developing breast cancer comes down by 10%. If a lady gives birth to 5 kids, relative risk is reduced by 50%, which means incidence becomes only 5%. 3. Incidence of ovarian cancer. By giving birth to one more child, the relative risk of ovarian cancer comes down by 30%. 4. The incidence of endometrial cancer is 80% less in those ladies who has given birth to 4 or more children. 5. Loneliness. The biggest problem of the present world is loneliness leading to depression. Having more children will give you more chances that you will not be lonely in your old age. Natural family planning, or NFP. Couples may wish to space their pregnancy when there are serious reasons, but their desire should not be motivated by selfishness. They can make use of less fertile days for marital act, abstaining on the fertile days. NFP is an open-to-life mentality, which means that in the event of conception during NFP, the couples will accept the new life and not abort the baby, which is the contraceptive mentality. The NFP methods respect the bodies of the spouses, encourage tenderness between them, and favor the education of an authentic freedom. CCC 2373, 2367, 2368, 2370. Let me conclude. With my medical experiences as an OBGYN so far, it has been so reaffirming to me that the teachings of the Catholic Church on life, love, and sexuality are practical, logical, and moreover, better for human beings to lead a peaceful and joyful life. The Catholic Church teaches these concepts to us, not to restrict or make our lives difficult, but to make our lives better, easy and free from the slavery of lust and anti-life mentalities. The encyclical Evangelium Vitae says, respect, protect, love, and serve life. Only in this direction you will find true happiness, development, justice, and peace. Let us strive to build the culture of life in our society in our own little ways.